Right, so it is my first week of this new job, my first time in this big, brand new office building, and I'm chilling at my desk when I see this girl walk past. And bro, she is hot. Like, she is easily the hottest girl that I've seen in this entire building so far. And maybe that's not a massive statement because all of the other ladies here just seem like middle aged, and she's one of the only young people I've seen so far. But in my head, I'm like, bro, I need to go and say something to her. Like, I need to go and introduce myself. Like, forget all this other stuff. Forget shooting my shot. I just need her to know that I exist. But yeah, no. For the rest of the day, I'm walking past her desk and I'm trying to get her to notice me. Like, I'm tensing my jawline as I walk past her, trying to get her to think I'm like some bad boy or something. I don't know. I probably look like such a dumbass, bro. but yeah, as the days go by, it's kind of turning into this thing. Like, I'm going into the office building with this nervous excitement. Like, am I going to see her today? Am I finally going to speak to her? Because I kind of pieced together that we don't work all of the same days. So I'm not actually guaranteed to see her. But, I probably sound so childish right now. Like I've got a crush on her. But, bro, this girl was hot. Like, she caught me off guard. I was not expecting to see someone like her at work. But yeah, as the weeks go by, it feels like something's gone wrong along the way. Like, I think she might have taken a week off of work. But then when she comes back to the office, I'm like, oh shit, it's her. It's this girl that, I said I was going to speak to on the first day, but I've not followed through with it. It feels like I've left it too long. I've almost missed my chance. And maybe that was all complete bullshit and that was all in my head, but it almost felt like because I'd left it so long, I'd allowed the stakes to go higher. Suddenly it felt like this high pressure thing, something that I had to do. And I'm not normally like this. Like, I'm not the most confident guy in the world, but I can hold my own around hot girls usually. But she was almost starting to get a little bit intimidating. Or the idea of finally speaking to her was kind of starting to intimidate me. And I was kicking myself because we were noticing each other. Like, I would be walking down the corridors in the office, she'd be coming the other way, and we'd lock eyes for a second, but then we both look away. And it's like, by leaving it this long, I've allowed it to turn into this almost awkward thing between us. Like, she probably thought I was being unfriendly or something. And yeah, I was just kicking myself because it felt like I'd missed this chance by not acting immediately like I said I was going to do. But then probably a month had gone by since I started the new job. And, it's towards the end of the day, I'm making a coffee in a little kitchenette area. And I feel someone behind me. And I look behind me and it's this girl. She's like waiting for me to move so she can get something in one of the cupboards. And I turn back around and I'm like, oh, fuck, it's her. Like, I already feel myself getting really nervous, super flustered, like, shit. Now she expects me to say something or some shit like that. But, I check myself for a moment and I think, actually, this is just the right moment. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Like, this is as good a time as I'm going to get to introduce myself. So, grit my teeth, turn around, fight through the awkwardness, and I just say hello. I say, hi, I don't think we've spoken before. And we get into a little conversation. She's perfectly polite with me. Doesn't seem like she's she's like overly interested in me, but who cares? And after that conversation, I feel amazing. I'm absolutely on top of the world. It's like, you think if you looked at me after that, it's like she would have given me her number or something. But it wasn't even about the outcome of the conversation. It was just that overwhelming sense of relief from finally having done that hard thing, from doing this thing which was causing me a lot of stress and anxiety, just really making me feel unsure of myself. I'd finally conquered it. And, since then, I was thinking about how I can avoid a situation like that happening again. And, I wanted to make a video about this just to kind of clear up some thoughts that I had. So, first of all, I'll say that it is absolutely normal to feel nervous and unsure of yourself around pretty girls. Like, a lot of red pill guys or whatever, they'll tell you, like, you need to hold frame, you can't let her detect any signs of nervousness, or you have to maintain that you're an alpha all the way through, otherwise she won't respect you. And maybe a small part of that is true, but it is absolutely normal to not be 100% on top of your game if you haven't had that much practice or experience with women in the past. It's a totally normal thing to want to portray almost the best version of yourself to someone that, you're trying to impress. Their opinion of you, holds some weight. So that's a totally normal thing. And don't beat yourself up if you do fall into that category, because even now I'm making a lot more moves. I'm taking so much more action than in the past when it comes to my dating life. But this still comes up regularly for me. But I think if there's anything we can do to stop it from getting to that moment, to stop it from getting to the point of, us putting them on the pedestal, I think we should take that opportunity. Like, at the end of the day, this is just some girl. This is just some girl. Like, we are confident men. Who are they to really be making us feel uncertain and nervous and unsure of themselves? Like, no disrespect. This girl, she was just a normal human being. Like, she's good looking, but, that's her gift. She's just a normal person at the end of the day. So I think the worst thing we can do is allow that pressure to build up in our heads before we act, because it's almost like the longer we let that go on, the longer that we don't act, the harder it's going to become in the long run, the harder it's going to get to actually initiate that conversation. So I think this might seem like an obvious solution based on the story that I told you, but I'm going to tell you now anyway. The best way forward through this is to break that communication barrier as soon as possible. As soon as you possibly can, just say something. Just say anything at all. Or, the framework that I like to use is just say hi. Literally just do the bare minimum. Don't give your brain enough time to react, because, when you wait for the opportunity rather than just, jumping on it, taking your shot when you have that ideal moment, that ideal opening, that is when you start to really overthink the situation. That is when you build things up in your head, when you start to put her on the pedestal. And the situation just becomes unnecessarily complicated. So train yourself. You want to get to the point where you can immediately just go over and say hello without even reacting, without even allowing your brain to process the situation for what it is. You want to train yourself to just go up straight away and say hello. Just do the bare minimum. Like, I think a lot of guys get hung up on exactly what to say. And that is how we end up in these overthinking patterns. Because, the more you try and coach yourself, the more you give yourself a script to follow rather than just acting naturally, that is just upping the stakes. Like, that is going to make this interaction that eventually happens even more, you're going to be even more nervous and unsure of yourself. So make it simple. that is the solution. Just make it as simple as possible. Just say hi and let the conversation evolve naturally from there. Like, see where it takes you. Don't treat it as this high pressure situation. Like, if you're in a situation like me where you're possibly going to run into this person again, then you don't have to do all of the heavy lifting of the conversation in one go. Like, this could be, rather than one big interaction, a series of interactions that happen across a couple of days. Like, day one, just say hi. Day two, have like another quick catch up. How's your day going? And then from there, it's like you're just building up that comfort between the two of you. You're not strangers anymore. But the conversations themselves can just be like 1 or 2 minutes. It's however long or short that you want them to be. So I think that advice is fairly actionable. Like, literally just train yourself to go over and say something as soon as you can. And if that feels like effort, because this is always going to be a challenge for me, it's still hard to, go over and initiate a conversation with a pretty girl. That's not an easy thing to do. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it. But the way I'm able to overcome that initial hurdle is just by telling myself that, this is as easy as it's going to get. If I act now, this is the easiest possible moment to just have a conversation, to just say something, because the longer I let it build up, the more nervous I'm going to be, the more I allow my nerves and anxiety to build when it comes to this conversation. So just do it right then and there, in the moment, and it'll be much easier for yourself than doing it in the long run. So yeah, I hope all of that made sense. Yeah, just say hi. That's all it takes. I'll see you in the next one, bro.